We're going stargazing tonight to find the Milky Way. In this video, I'll take you behind the scenes to photograph the night sky. I'll offer many tips to find, observe, and photograph the Milky Way. Drop any questions or suggestions in the comment section or reach out to me through my website, bdphotographs.com. Alright, drink your coffee or Red Bull, we have a long night ahead of us. For starters, what is that band of stars we see? Aren't we already in the Milky Way? We are indeed located in the spiral-shaped galaxy called the Milky Way on one of the spurs. What we see in the night sky is the center and brightest part known as the galactic core. In the northern hemisphere, the core is not visible in the winter months from November through January. In spring, the Milky Way rises after midnight for a few hours in the southeastern sky. By summer, it's visible for most of the night in the southern sky, which makes June through August the best time of year to see the Milky Way. In the autumn months, it begins to taper off, visible for a few hours in the southwestern sky in the early part of the night. Don't worry if this seems like a lot to remember. I'm going to give you some tools later on to precisely find the Milky Way using your smartphone. In order to see this amazing sight, we need to get away from the light pollution of urban areas. More than half the world's population lives in or around cities, which means most people rarely, if ever, see much of the night sky. This shot was taken 60 miles away from New York City, and we can still see how much light pollution glows along the horizon. For this photo shoot, we're traveling to Joshua Tree National Park in the California high desert. Joshua Tree is a great stargazing location because it is only a few hours' drive from Los Angeles and is in some very dark skies. There are a number of smartphone apps that can help you locate the Milky Way. PhotoPills is probably the most popular among photographers who need a sophisticated app to plan their shots. A simpler alternative is Skyview, which is available for iOS and Android phones. You can search for Milky Way, and the app will direct you where to find it. It's morning in J-Tree, and we're scouting locations for tonight's shoot. Capturing the Milky Way requires setting a camera on a tripod and taking a long exposure to let in lots of light. I've included a link in the video description with more details about lenses and settings. In my opinion, photographing the Milky Way is more of a creative challenge than a technical one. With practice, capturing the stars is not too difficult. The hard part is making an interesting image, and that means finding other elements to have in the photo, especially something in the foreground. A foreground element doesn't have to be anything crazy, because we don't want to compete with the spectacular night sky. Something like this will do fine. We don't need any special gear to photograph the Milky Way, but it helps to prepare for the outdoors. We'll need a camera and a wide-angle lens, a sturdy tripod. Not a bad idea to have a first aid kit, insect repellent. You'll definitely want a flashlight, and personally, I prefer a headlamp. Don't forget the extra batteries. A good pair of boots, especially when you've got cholla or other cactus you don't want to tangle with. Leave the flip-flops at home unless you're stargazing at the beach. Finally, a map of the area is always a good idea. So we've got our location and our gear set, and we'll rest up for tonight's shoot. I should have been a writer, then I could be asleep right now. It's 3 a.m. and I'm the only person out here right now, but that doesn't mean I'm alone. You may think you're not afraid of the dark, but night sky photography will put that to the test. It's common to hear nocturnal animals when you're out shooting, and some of them sound pretty scary if you're unfamiliar with their calls. This shot was taken in the South African bush, in the same area frequented by lions, leopards, hippos, and elephants. The only way I could safely take this photo was under the supervision of an experienced ranger. So here it is. After a few hours of shooting, we've got what we came for, the amazing Milky Way. It really is pretty, it really is amazing, and it really does not look like that. It's true, one of the open secrets in photography is that most night sky images are not true representations of what our eyes see. To the naked eye, the Milky Way looks like a faint, foggy band in the sky, something more like this. That doesn't mean the photos where the Milky Way looks very brilliant are fake, just that the camera sees very differently than the human eye. In this long exposure, the movement of cars appears as light trails. We wouldn't say it's fake, just different from how our eyes see. It's important to keep these differences in mind when you're out stargazing so that you're not disappointed. Well, that's it for our nighttime adventure. Don't forget to subscribe and follow along on Instagram. Thanks for watching.